Today I am completely redoing a Minecraft village. Let's do this. So the first thing I worked on was this farm here. I will say I am using the replay mod to get all these shots, and I have to say this is the first time I'm using this, so please bear with me on it. I am truly trying my best, but there might be a couple of times where I accidentally go through a wall or a tree, but I will try to make this as fluid as I can. But this was the first thing I wanted to do just because you see that water flowing. We just got to get it under control. We don't want any accidents to occur. And there was actually a bunch of farms in this village. Surprisingly, the village itself isn't actually that big. So I was like, how many farmers you got here? But actually a lot of the farms didn't have any farmers alongside them. But I wanted to make a nice make it look like a farm, so I decided to put that wood around it and make it look like it's truly could not be placed anywhere else. Next I worked on this little sheep pen over here, and I have to say there's multiple times during this that I kind of felt bad for my villagers. Yes, I was giving them a wonderful makeover, it was gonna look so pretty in the end, but also I just let all their sheep run away. I mean, I'm going to place new ones. I think I actually placed more than were already in there, and the pen is bigger. But there's certainly, if you notice, there's certainly some villagers following me around through this whole thing, being like, what are you doing? What do you want? Please leave. Oh my god, you're such a nuisance. And I'm like, I'm just trying to make your lives better, man. But I was actually really excited about this part. So in all of my world, I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but whenever I keep sheep and I have a little water thing for them, even if it's fake, they always want to jump in the water. So I was like, why don't make them like a miniature pool? And I decided to put some glass on the outside so they can look at the squid, but they're not affecting the ecosystem or anything. And you know what happens? They still jump in the water drinking section. I know it's not real, but it's still I gave you this whole pool and you want to jump in this little 1x3 little square. I guess it would be a rectangle, but this little 1x3 area when I gave you this whole section. And I felt so bad. I had to push that little villager out of the way. And I had to do that multiple times. No one died when I did this. No animals or villagers were harmed. And I also decided to give them a little bit of that little wheat section. Not that they can take it from that, but it's all about the thought of if I were to live in this village, it would be very convenient to have it right next to me to feed them. But then I decided to build this little over shelf. I don't know what it's called. I was about to say overcast, but that's about the weather, but it's for the weather. Basically, if it rains, I don't want them to get rained on if they don't want to be rained on. And I definitely should have put the sheep in after I finished the build. I just got excited, I guess, but God, were they in the way. I really learned my lesson. Coming up, you'll see. We are now finally working on the first house. I just picked a random one, to be honest. There's nothing special about this one. So the first thing I wanted to do was just give myself a little bit of an outline because I knew I didn't want to do the exact same shape. It felt like it was pointless. We gotta add some variety here. And don't worry, I will not be using these blocks as the final ones. I just thought it would be easier to put them in just because I would think I was already holding them at the time. I wanted to do a little bit of a funky shape. Obviously, we still gotta go with our rectangle and squares. We can't just unfortunately make circles and curved things around here. I don't know what this idea is as I'm looking at it. But eventually then we actually start replacing it with the actual wood that we're using. And then I do the roof and some decorating. It was really fun because I decided to add some a little bit of lore, which I'm going to be going through the entire village when I'm done with it, and I'll show you around so you'll get to see a little bit. But this person might be hiding a little secret, and I thought I would add the chain mail armor just because we can't craft it, so I thought it would be fun as someone in this game has it at least. And but this one was really fun. My god, if you noticed, I'm very bad at making corner stairs. It was a lot of effort. I promise throughout the speed build it does get better, but oh my god, was it a struggle to figure out at first. Then we just have a quick pit stop to plant some crops. Now we are working on the butcher's house. The first thing I did was I gave the piggies a little bit more room. I don't know why they cut off the fence like that. It seems completely unnecessary to me. And then I decided to give the piggies the same thing that I gave the sheep, where they have a little bit of a swimming area. This time I decided to make it out of fence so it kind of fit their aesthetic a little bit more. I know the sheep also have fence, but it's not the same. And then after that I decided to work on the little patio balcony. outside, gave him another smoker, gave him some chests to store his fuel, aka lava, and then I decided to go underground. I thought it would be fun keeping his stuff down there just because I was like, he doesn't need to change his house. I'm giving him all this other extra stuff. But I thought it was cool with the secret entrance and things. So the first thing I put under there was obviously a bed, and then I decided to make him a little lava room, and I didn't even mean to. But there are actually dripstone caves like right under this village. So it worked out perfectly that he would have had access to dripstone. I didn't even mean to do that. But it's something that I actually have in my personal base, so I thought it would be perfect to make sure he always has fuel, always ready to feed the entire village. And then for the upstairs, I didn't really have too much to do anyway because most of his stuff was downstairs, so I just kind of tried to clean it up a little bit. I don't know if it went exactly how I had wanted it to. Maybe I added one too many pressure plates, but I was generally happy with it. Oh my god, I almost forgot. I added a little carrot farm for the piggies. And now I am doing everyone's favorite task of building a path. I'm kidding. But I have to say, I was really nervous. This was the biggest path I've ever done before. I've only made like the tiny little ones. And don't worry, I do add some detailing to it later. This is not the final product by any means. Now we are working on a cartographer's house. I originally was thinking about keeping it raised up like that, but I decided I was going to actually do that for a later build that you'll see in a few minutes. But something I really wanted to keep was make sure they have all their stuff. Don't want to forget about that. I decided because this is such a central house, I wanted to have a little bit of a patio hangout area and stuff, so you'll see that coming up. I've learned this trick, I don't even know how long ago, but if you want to know how I'm putting the carpet on top of the fence, I'm actually using some string from spiders. You just put it underneath, it like attaches, it can attach to the fence post plus itself, and so you can put carpet on top, so you can make little cute summer umbrellas for you, which is really fun. And then obviously it needs sugar cane to make paper. We got stuff for paper, and I thought the candles and the little flower was cute. I don't know why I picked green and blue. I just thought they were cute colors because I wanted the green bed, and I was like, what goes with green? I guess blue, because I was just like looking through all the options. Oh my god, no, I'm totally lying. The reason I picked it is because those are the two colors that like pop out in the cartography table. Cartography table. Or is there I hear some people say cardiography. Something like that. Either way, those are the colors that popped up in there. That's why I also used the dark floor color, so it all matched, trying to get that same vibe. We are now working on the shepherd's house, and I do have to fully admit I did just look that up. I just saw that there was a loom in the house, and I was like, which villager uses a loom? But yeah, so now we're working on the shepherd's house. I also kind of went with the same vibe as the cartography house, not in the sense of like same colors. I meant the fact that we're using the loom's colors in here, so we actually used mangrove wood, I believe, as the floor, and then I just extended out the fence and stuff so the sheep can have some more space, plus the flowers. Make sure you can get both the dyes and the wool for these types of things. It's very important making sure this economy stays alive. So next we have a normal just villager house, nothing special, but I wanted to really dive into the fact that it was taller than the other ones, so I made it a full 2 floors, baby. The only 2 or 3 floored house that they have, or structure that they have in villages, is like always like a lookout and stuff. So I was like, well, why don't we just pretend it's like a converted lookout, and now it's just someone's home and they have a cute balcony and they can drink their coffee and hang out and look at the view. It's really pretty. And so that's what I did. It's very cramped, but you do get to walk upstairs before you go to bed every night. Now we are working on a cleric's house. I noticed that they had terracotta in the buildings for the clerics, and I really wanted to lean into that as someone that has never used terracotta in their builds, and especially not glazed terracotta. So I was so happy that I like found the yellow that they had was like perfect for it. Also, I just like to excuse me being very bad at figuring out where the middle of a section of the building is. It took me multiple tries that I had to get. but I really loved this design, and so that's why I put it on the floor and the ceiling. And it kind of sucks that it's upside down when you actually look up, but from the outside it's pretty. And I'm in creative, so I can fly around, so I think it's great. And now we are doing the other cleric house. I basically just did the same thing as the last one, except it's a little bit longer, and I also used red glazed terracotta as opposed to the yellow. Now the lore is starting to get really intense. I'm completely kidding. I just wanted to replace the roof with this stuff from the nether because I wanted to like make it so, because this house is the closest one to the ruined portal, I wanted to be like, oh, she likes the person that lives here likes to go to the nether, and everyone thinks she's a little bit quirky for it. And so I thought I'd represent that. Plus, then I can use more glazed terracotta, and it is quickly becoming my new favorite thing. We are now working on the little meeting point area. I don't know if it has another name for it, but I completely demolished this already. But the one that generated in this world was one that had a little kind of pond fountain in the middle, so I wanted to keep that. And of course I'm using more terracotta, but I thought this design was just so pretty, so I was like, I need to include it. It's gonna be really cute. I'm gonna really like it. And then of course I have to put the bells off to the side, make sure everyone can hear that we're having a meeting. And then the little kind of archways, I originally started making them because I wanted to have like little bleachers for everyone to sit in so everyone could like see each other, but then I realized that would absolutely not work. But they do look kind of cute as little archways to get into the meeting point area, so that's why I decided to keep them there. And I also have, am I the only one that thinks that like corner stairs kind of look like little hats when you put them together? Maybe I'm just crazy, but I always think that when I see the little corner stairs, especially when they're placed like that. We are now off to Mr. Recluse. Like I mentioned earlier, how I said I wanted to have a stilted house. This is what I was talking about. I wanted to have it like actually over the water as opposed to just over land. I thought it would be much more fun. And so I actually originally made this with acacia, just like everything else, but as I was building it, I kind of wanted to build some lore in there, so I decided to actually switch it up for some oak. And so the kind of like my idea behind it is an old man lives here by himself, and he's forced to stay in this village because he could not survive on his own whatsoever. And so, but he wants to like not be associated, so he goes and like finds the other wood that's like around, and he's like, I'm gonna make it out of oak, which was just more work for me because I had to rebuild fences, and for me they're the hardest things to place. Like the little square to place it to keep them going up, I can never hit correctly. But I'm very happy with how it turned out. It's very boring and basic. In the chest that I put down, I put a bunch of bread and a bunch of carrots because I just like picture he's just like stealing from the farm that's like a couple houses over. And he's just like gathering what he can. And also I will talk about it actually when I'm like walking around there in a few minutes, but there is some special lore to do with him. And now we are heading over to the neighbor across the street, who I picture this young cartographer who just wants to make her mark on the world. She also has some lore. So a fun fact about her though, she's probably one of the only two people that the old man will talk to, and she's very exciting because nobody else in the village likes her, and so she built her house to make sure it looked like everybody else's. And so that's why inside she actually has a pink bed. It's like her little form of rebellion. She's like, yeah, nobody can say anything about that because it's my house, but she just wants to be liked by everyone. And she's like think of like maybe like Jess from New Girl, like that kind of vibe of like she's just trying. Now I have some really bad news. Somehow the recording messed up, and so I don't have the rest of the building, unfortunately. So all I can show is the finished build, and then I'll be able to take you through it and show you all the details and everything. But I have so much more I want to show you, so please keep watching. You're just gonna have to bear with me as I walk around and show you everything. You won't be able to see the process of it, but I'm so sad that this happened. I was so frustrated because it was 3 hours of footage, but truly rest in peace to that footage. You will be severely missed. Now we are back in my world, and so now let's look at the path and everything that I actually did. So I figured we'd start over by the ruin portal and work our way around. So here's what the finished path actually looked like. I was thinking like maybe they wanted to repair it with the stones they had around because they knew that stone would be more sturdy than wood. That was kind of my thought process, and then I decided to use these as little like hanging lamp posts. And then let me fly a little bit and make me go a little bit faster. And then over here we have bridge. We have two bridges on this. They're designed exactly the same, but I thought this was really cute with the little arch. Make sure it's all lit up. We don't want any problems. I will also show you what it looks like at night. I think it's so pretty. I'm so happy with it. And here is the lady that likes to go into the Nether's house. I decided to add soul lanterns because I feel like it was just fitting. I had to. And I realized I never actually showed what her inside of her house looks like. I think I put a few blast furnaces in some houses. It's truly just to represent like a little, I guess like a furnace, like the ones, like heaters in your house as opposed to food cookers and stuff and smelters. And so we got a bed up here, and then this is what the view actually looks like from over here. Imagine just sitting drinking your coffee in the morning enjoying that view. So that was this house. It wasn't crazy lore or anything, but I thought it would be something fun, and I guess we can leave through this door if we want to. And then we have a little beetroot farm. To be honest, I just didn't want to keep planting wheat and carrots just because I kind of felt bad. I don't think beetroot even grows in this biome, but we're just gonna pretend that it does. And oh my god, can't believe it, I already forgot. That's not good. I made a little dock. I thought it was cute. I originally had when you put leads on animals and then put them on fences, it usually stays up this little section, but I guess not anymore. But we have 3 little boats, so if anyone needs to go on an adventure, we have options. Now we have over to our first cleric's house, which you guys have already seen. This is another view of it inside. The ones that I kind of showed all the way around, unless they have specific lore, I'm really just going to try to run through really quick. This one, I didn't build the inside of it. I decided to just go with the red theme. They don't have as much stuff. They're not as accomplished as the other one. They clearly like their posters and stuff. I thought these ones were fun. Nothing exciting out the back door, unfortunately. And then I guess they're hanging out, having a stare down over here. Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you. And I also noticed in the recording down in this house that some of the ceiling tiles were not flipped into the bricks, but don't worry, I flipped it. We're good. I noticed it as well. And so this path is just continuing. We have all of our stuff. And oh, yes, lower. Okay, so much has happened. Clearly, there's a giant glass box. So I will first go over to the old man recluse's house. And basically, what the whole thing is he was actually a fisher, a really good fisher back in his day. And so my whole thought process was that he'd sit down here in the morning. This is supposed to be a cup of coffee, but we don't have anything like that. And he has this fishing rod, and you're like, wow, that's really good. Except it only has mending and has curse of vanishing. That's a little odd. But basically, the whole thing is no one's allowed to touch his fishing rod. And so the whole point is what's going to happen is after he passes away, they're going to come check. We want to see what enchantments he had on it. We don't know. And they can't because it vanished. And so they never think to go look for it because they think, oh, it's just gone. It's vanished. It probably had a curse of vanishing on it. But you just pop down here. No one thinks to go underwater because why would they? What's down here? Oh my god, a fishing rod with everything on it? That's actually amazing, and actually the one that got him all of his prizes? What? That's crazy. But yes, so that's his little lore. And then let's go over to his neighbor across the way. And her whole thing is I showed you how like she just wants to be a really good cartographer and stuff, and her little lore for back here is just that she has a little note from her mom. And don't forget, mom loves you. Like she's one of those anxious girlies. I relate. And then the real reason that no one really likes her is because she's bringing in technology, and they want they only want all the old stuff, and the old man likes her because she is like disrupting the order of things. And so she's the second cartographer you saw earlier. The other one just has planted sugarcane. She has an auto sugarcane farm. Now, I haven't been hanging out in this world too much, so we haven't gotten that much, and I don't know if I messed it up or why these aren't flowing down. Maybe it's because that isn't filled in. I'm not sure. But I built this and then I put glass around it because her thought process was like, if anyone tries to break in, I'll be able to tell because I have glass. Whereas like if you use like wood or something, they could easily replace the wood. But is someone gonna go through that effort of smelting glass? Who knows? She's just bringing technology into the space. Nobody likes that. Now, if we head up this way, I didn't realize how steep it was for who it is. And by the way, he put himself there. I've tried to get him out multiple times. Please do not judge me. That is not my fault. But we have Granny's house up here. So basically, her whole thing is just she likes to make a lot of cookies. So that's what I know you're supposed to. You obviously can't use the blast furnace for cookies, but we're pretending. And she just has a bunch of cookies, and she just loves life. And I was thinking maybe she was a painter in her early life, and this is actually one of her paintings. But you know, life caught in the way. You can't. Not everyone can have an artist dream. That sounds so sad. But they. Oh, that's some eggs. But this is how she gets her eggs and milk. I don't actually know the cookie recipe, but let's just say she also makes cakes. How about that? That's where they also got themselves in here. There was two other ones. I can't with these folks. They found a way in. I'm sure they can find a way out. Probably not, actually. So that is it for houses, but we do have, I believe, one other section that I would love to show off, and that's our cute little just fishing spot. So basically, it's just a place for two little folks to fish. Right here, and over here we got some boring old fishing rods because our old man won't let him use his, which is funny. But the last thing I want to show you is what it looks like at night, so let's switch it. See, now you can see it's all lit up. I mean, I'm on peaceful anyway, so I guess we can't actually check. Let me get rid of this so you can see it. But yeah, see, here's everything lit up like this. I think it's so pretty. And you can definitely tell me any suggestions you have, except for my path. I mean, you probably actually should give me stuff for my path, but this is the first path I've ever made, especially that's that big. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a lot of work, way too many hours, but I loved it so much. I'm planning on posting every Wednesday, so if you like this type of content, please subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed it. Share it with a friend if you think that you find this interesting, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.